So good morning, everyone. I'm going to take you through my presentation exploring impression management and selective self-presentation on Instagram. So after a comprehensive study of the relevant literature, I developed my research problem. How and why do Generation Z implement selective self-presentation strategies on Instagram? From here, I then developed 4 research questions. What are the primary motivations to present a desired self? Do individuals consider their online self as an extension of their offline? How do individuals use the various features and the functions of Instagram to manage their identity? And what role do dynamic feedback loops play in the management of self-presentation? So firstly, Generation Z are motivated to selectively self-present, to archive their experiences, to present a desirable lifestyle, and to improve their self-esteem. They also want to show their self-concept, their personality, and physical characteristics. There is a distinct necessity among this generation to share the highlights of their life online. So people feel a deep desire to show with others the best parts of their life. Often this act of sharing is more important than relishing in the moment. Secondly, people feel a pressure to present an ideal lifestyle that other people will find desirable. There's a cumulative effect to this phenomenon. People selectively self-present, they show their highlights. Other people then see this and they may feel inadequate and they feel they need to do the same. As I discussed with my participants, they all discuss this deep pressure to present a certain lifestyle and a certain lifestyle online. There was actually also evident a dark side to selective self-presentation online. People discussed that there's a mental health and self-esteem issues that come with this because people become addicted to it, and also they feel nervous, self-conscious and anxious when they're posting online. Secondly, it was clear that a contradiction exists in the perception that people have between their online self and their offline self. They discuss how their profile on Instagram is a great representation of their life offline. However, when they're talking about other people, they say they're extremely selective and that these are inaccurate representations of their life. Thirdly, it was clear that the features and functions of Instagram are facilitating and accentuating selective self-presentation. So these kind of behaviours have existed for generations, as was clear in the theory, but Instagram is facilitating it more and more. So people will use their normal posts to show the perfect moments, the highlights. They use editing and filters to make these even better. They use hashtags and tagging to reach more people, to provide context, and then they can use their stories to show their more daily lifestyle and the highlights on a day-to-day basis. The new feature that Instagram have launched, Highlights, is a manifestation of all of this. People can literally create the different moments, the highlights of the different traits that they have and their best parts. Finally, it's clear that due to dynamic feedback loops and the cycle of interpretation, the online self is essentially being co-created. It's fascinating to see the true impact that other people are having on people's identity formation online. It starts with the idea of perceived others. So when people are posting, they think, what will other people think of this? Then it's the constant feedback that they receive. They get feedback from others, and then when they get good feedback, they post similar content. When they get bad feedback, they'll avoid posting that content. They're basically molding into the version that provokes the best results from other people. After this, I then had to answer the research question. How and why are Generation Z selectively self-presenting on Instagram? So in terms of why, there's internal and external factors. Externally, there's the exposure to other people's idealistic presentations, and they feel that they need to match this. However, internally, they have an internal desire to express themselves and to receive this social validation. Then, in terms of how, people are manipulating their offline experiences and using the technical affordances on the app to present a desirable image. So, although online presentations have always been maybe ideal versions of offline, now people's online presentation, their Instagram profile, is affecting what they do offline. So people will now go for a hike so they can put up a picture. People will choose a restaurant so they can put up the picture. I'm sure many people here bought a pint of Guinness, put it up on Instagram just to show that they're in Dublin because they want to put that on their Instagram profile. All of this is a perfect example of what I refer to in my paper as Instagram culture. I feel like more and more in our generation it's becoming a visual orientated Instagram culture. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any audience questions for Brett? Yeah, I see one already.
Hey, thanks for that really great presentation. So within your research, did sponsorships or advertising revenue play a role in your findings? Were they any significant factors, or were they just kind of a minority for the majority of the user base?
Well, I suppose the kind of main thing that came into it was the fact that branding is so important for companies that they can become part of people's presentation. So it's more about how the brand develops themselves. So say Starbucks might be the coffee of choice for people, and if they have their Christmas cups out, people are like, oh, I'm gonna get coffee. I'll go to Starbucks. I'll get the Christmas cup and I'll put that up. Or people maybe they are against Starbucks, so they might go to more of an indie cafe, and that's gonna. So you know, people will use brands to create their image. So I think advertising is obviously important, but it's more on a bigger level what the brand stands for and how that will help someone show what their image is and show the lifestyle they want to show. It was hard to conceptualize how big this was or how important. Like, it was just, I got a phone call to say you'd won. I was delighted. I couldn't believe it. But then you kind of put it aside. It was when I got here, and I sat here Monday morning, and people get up there and they're presenting, and it's amazing the work that people are doing, and they're so passionate about it as well. And just the high standard of that is when I kind of said, okay, this is some achievement that I've done this, like, because I'm being recognised on the same level as these people who are just, it's like, some of the work was unbelievable. So like, just being on that level, yeah. I've never heard of, or I'm not sure if there's any other like people who are doing this for undergraduates who are like taking people from all over the world and giving them this platform to show their work. So the fact that they're just I suppose showing the quality of work that's out there among undergraduates is so important. And then there's the thing we were talking about with like networking with other people. So it's, when would I ever get the opportunity to meet all these people? So it's just giving that opportunity to meet people from around the world in different disciplines and just interact with each other. So I suppose it's the two things of recognizing the work, but then putting these people together.